Hi, everyone. So excited to be here today, especially now that we've got four squares filled and got nothing but knowledge and talent willing to share, and hopefully for the benefit of everybody watching now and in the future. With that said, the word of the day is opportunity. I got to give Charles credit. He was the one who initiated the word of the day a long time ago. Thought it was would be a good concept, and it's proved right ever since then. Chat is wide open. Always look forward to comments. With that said, we'll start with the furthest part from where we are, which is Hong Kong. And Charles, why don't you give a brief introduction and first thoughts on opportunity?
Thank you very much, Don. And I'm Charles. I'm based in Hong Kong, where it's currently midnight. So we're 13 hours ahead of EST in Canada, in North America. And I run human resources for a large education system here in Hong Kong. We have 22 schools and 19,000 students and just under 3,000 staff. We're actually having a very special event on Monday. We're having an all-staff conference. We're going to have all 3,000 staff in the same room for the first time in the history of the organization. So that's going to be pretty spectacular. But in terms of my word on opportunity, I think one of the things that comes to mind, given the sort of Asian context that I've been living in for the last 28 years in Hong Kong, is that in chaos, there is opportunity. And the Chinese character for opportunity actually says exactly that. When you look at the characters combined, the message coming from the character for chaos is that in chaos there is opportunity. So that's the first thing I have to say, Don.
Well, that's great. Good way to start us off. I'll move over to Omar. Omar has been such a kind connection. I've been on his show quite a bit. Omar just also invited me to be the one of the judges for a LinkedIn singing contest that he's putting on. I give Omar a lot of credit. He really stretches the envelope a little bit with his shows. I've been on What Do You Know About Don? I know that's not the title. He's also got a Zoom party show. My grandson actually participated and was a victor. And look forward to being on more shows with Omar. So, Omar, why don't you give a little background and first thoughts on opportunity yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Don, for bringing me on this program. Always lovely to be with you and your three wonderful guests. We have four men today, which is interesting and it's wonderful. I'm in the tech field. I have an engineering degree from Arizona State, but I work in tech at a company called TTEC. I train new employees in tech. I also help people with different calls and people with tech issues that they call us. And so I love that. I've been doing that for 5 years. I'm also tutoring as well on the side, ACT, SAT, all these prep for students in high school. So I'm in the education and doing the game show. And then the show that Don was mentioning, Do We Really Know Them? So Don was like the sixth guest on the show back then. I'm still doing it now. I'm on episode 33. I do it every 2 weeks on Sundays at noon Eastern. So that's fun. And yeah, I'll be doing a singing competition as well. I asked Don to be a judge. Most likely in a couple of weeks, we might move it to April or March. And so that would be great. So we're going to have a lot of people around the world participate. And the word opportunity, uh, the best way to go with what opportunity is by going with the definition of opportunity, right? What is an opportunity, right? We always think of opportunity when we're looking for a job or we're looking for employment. So it's the chance or a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something, right? And we always want that opportunity in terms of a job, better pay, better relationships. That's what I would say opportunity is. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Omar. And now we turn over to Jason. Jason, love to hear a little bit of a little background and opportunity.
Well, it's great to be here, have the opportunity intended to be here with you three gentlemen today. And Don, we've done several shows together. Omar, we were just talking, we've done one show together here with Don, and we've connected outside. And Charles, it's great to meet you. I'm excited to always make new connections. It's always a positive thing. Yep. So opportunity, I love what Charles was saying. I was thinking about that as well, about people talk about this, the two characters in Chinese and where it shows up, and talking about finding that in chaos. Omar talking about set of circumstances, you know, backing up, Don, this, but just kind of for the general conversation, I work in mental health, and I could say for this conversation, I help people find those opportunities and to make those opportunities. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is that we get caught up on looking for that right moment, but you can make that right moment. You can make that now. And it's just how you what you focus on and how you see life. If you're focusing on all the ways you can accomplish something, you're not going to see opportunities. But if you start to focus on what you can achieve, then all of a sudden the universe says, here's some ways to do that. They say, set your intention, let the universe take over. And that's when those opportunities will really start to highlight in your life. And I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I think we're off to a great start. We've got Usman here, and Usman's been a supporter of the show and many other shows. Also has another comment. How are you there? It's nice to meet you all. More love and respect to each and every one. It's up to people are doing good work. Best wishes to each and every. That's great. And I think that just kind of signifies an opportunity. Whatever you say, whatever you do, can help you towards an opportunity, but also, as importantly, help someone else with their opportunity. And it could be just a motivating influence that one can have. And we've got another fine individual, Leslie Flowers, talking about the universe. Leslie is one of the best people I know on LinkedIn. I've done over 50 shows with Leslie, and Leslie supports my show by really publicizing and promoting not only mine, but so many other shows. She has a show on Fridays, Think and Grow Rich, that she's been doing for a long time. And if you're interested in Napoleon Hill, it's a great opportunity. And also does a Monday audio event, which is Mind Over Matter, which I'm always promoting. So thank you, Leslie. Leslie always brightens every room she appears in. And once she gets going, you can't stop Leslie. How's it going, guys? Only boys this morning? Well, wasn't by plan. You know all our names, so good for you, Leslie, and looking forward to having more of your.
And she spelled it correctly, Don. She spelled our names correctly. That's good for her.
Yeah,
I'll give you a 10 out of 10.
you get the comment the rest of the show now, Leslie. You're open field. So yeah, I want to thank everybody who's helped this show, been on this show. We've done 900 shows in about 3 years. Did about 600 straight, 7 days a week, which is kind of interesting. But it's only possible if you take it one show, one day at a time. It would be too challenging to say for the next year, because even if you want to, life will get in the way, an appointment, a situation. But with that said, Leslie says audio gone, baby, video now. Great. Well, nice to know. And it's nice to be able to update each other. Terrence is here. Terrence is a wonderful gentleman, known him for years, and he's doing great things. So really privileged and honored to have so many wonderful people, not only on the show, but people who have created the opportunity of the show. With that, I'll swing it back to Charles. Charles, we're off to a great start. What can you add to it?
Well, I think that, sometimes people often look back over their life and they realize that they've missed opportunities. And, there's a reason why we have the expression carpe diem, seize the day. And that is because opportunities are not necessarily always given. They're quite often something where people are in the right place at the right time, or they have the right mindset at the right time to identify opportunities. And nowadays, the world is very, very fast-paced. We know that for sure. In the last couple of months of 2024, did a survey of HR professionals, senior HR people across Asia, and asked them the question, has the corporate clock speed increased or decreased or stayed the same in the last couple of years, and everybody almost unanimously was saying that the corporate clock speed had increased. And in terms of opportunities being in front of you, if you're moving too fast in the world, you're just have got so many things going on, you might miss opportunities that are waiting to be seized. And I really encourage people to sit down and, once a week or, once a month, if you're really at a point in your life where you're looking for opportunities, you want opportunities, you need opportunities, what you really want to do is slow down and take some time to reflect on what is in front of you, which I'm sure over the next hour we're going to talk about what are different ways that your network, that the universe, that your job, that your friends or family might be pointing opportunities towards you. But in order to really hear the opportunities and understand that those opportunities are there waiting to be seized, we really need to take the time to slow down and reflect and really understand our environment and our network and what people might be saying to us about opportunities right in front of us.
Well, great points. And, I believe, opportunities are meant for people who, or you'll have more opportunities being proactive than reactive, creating opportunities instead of waiting for opportunities. And opportunities can build on themselves. So all it takes is a little bit, a spark to get a flame. Omar, your turn.
Yeah, good point there. I was actually getting my background here, and it wasn't keeps breaking up here. I'm so sorry. Yeah, those are definitely good points that Charles made. Uh, I wasn't really too much paying attention to what he was saying, but opportunity definitely is something that's key here, and we definitely have to take consideration to the opportunities. Uh, when they come to us. I'll be short and brief there. I was so focused on my background.
It's easy to be distracted and try to be not distracted. Leslie has a couple comments. We've been doing audio so long, we forgot to use Don Cohen's format of engaging the audience. Well, it's easy for Leslie because she is definitely engaging, and also has a compliment to Omar. Omar, you're looking good today. Must be
Thank you.
that cool
10 out of
sport
10.
you have on. It just takes a little bit, and all of a sudden you change your whole persona. So, Jason,
I need to stand up for that. Is that
well, you could do that too. Jason,
it's like Jason is frozen on
yeah,
his end.
frozen.
Yeah.
So let's go to Charles, and we'll let Jason catch up.
Yeah, back to me. Absolutely. So just to say more about really the need to slow down and allow people to reflect about opportunities and the surroundings that are out there, and different things that people can take into consideration about how to create opportunities. One of them is to really embrace lifelong learning and make sure that you're engaging in regular, ongoing stimulation to educate yourself, to stay curious, to cultivate a mindset of curiosity, ask questions, to seek understanding about things that you don't understand. And that's a great way to look for opportunities. One of the ways I sometimes describe it is that a lot of times breakthroughs in life and opportunities in life comes from what we don't know that we don't know. And we get very certain about the environment that's around us. We get very certain that the way is the way it is. But what we need to do is really reflect on the ways that we may not yet understand the world. And this is where people can then create opportunities for themselves and breakthroughs for themselves by really taking the time to reflect on what they don't know that they don't know.
Great point. And again, I agree with you earlier, Charles, is learning is a constant. Whether you choose to or not, the world is changing around you all the time. It's moving much faster. I'm starting to really dive into ChatGPT and AI and seeing what it can do for you and with you. Because I've seen so many changes, especially in technology over the years, and it's only moving faster, and the people who can adopt what's going on that's working will have a superior competitive edge over those who have their head in the sand, want to just lock it down where it is. But the world doesn't change for you. You need to change for the world. And also, why not? Why not be a better version of yourself on a daily, weekly, or annual basis? And it's exciting. People fear change because you could give a million reasons: lazy, comfortable, being comfortable at being uncomfortable and learning how to still find some happiness in it. But why not stretch? Life is for the living, and for the doing. And you never know what you don't know until you stretch yourself a little bit. So many people are so afraid of falling out a window until they figure out they're on the first floor, right? So until you see what's outside and what's going on, and you don't give yourself enough credit. It's always the familiar that people choose, not the unfamiliar. The safe, which isn't always safe. It might be convenient, but convenience only lasts so long. So anyways, don't want to get on my high horse, which is easy to do. Charles has a comment. So we get Charles visually and in word. Slowing down allows us to reflect and observe our surroundings, and by taking time to regularly assess potential path, we can cultivate awareness and recognize opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed in our fast-paced life. Live, so true. And you know what I found over the years of doing this show and doing so much interacting on LinkedIn, it's what other people can help you with, right? Just something someone said all of a sudden says, wow, I didn't think of that, or I used to think of that, now I should think more of it. And also, how can I integrate what people are sharing with me? Life is like a recipe. You decide what kind of ingredients am I going to choose? How am I going to blend them? How am I going to present them? And there's so much fun and simplicity in just taking little things and taking, like Charles says, the time to enjoy and appreciate them. A sunset, a flower, a bird. I mean, there's millions of stimuli all around us, and most people can go through life with blinders on and tunnel vision. And I don't know, everybody to their own. I don't want to judge, but if you're here, it's a blessing. Every day is a gift. Why not unwrap that gift and make something of it? So I don't know if you're frozen, Jason, but it looks that way. But chime in anytime. I'll look for you to move. With that, moving to Omar.
Yeah, so definitely. So what you mentioned there, Don and Charles, opportunity, right? And the connections that we connect with LinkedIn, that they can be an opportunity for you. And I've seen that before, uh, and that's where you can get a connection with somebody and give you an opportunity to either do a video for you, edit a video for you, do a promo video for you, and that's a good opportunity that I had noticed while I was active with LinkedIn in a couple of years. I was so that's where opportunity can come in as well. So definitely.
Well, sounds great. I'll switch it to Jason uh, and give you a little more time because of not being able to take the time earlier. Jason.
That's okay, and I appreciate it. And I'm sorry for the distraction. Yeah, my internet's having some challenges, so I rebooted everything, and it's still being what it is. But here we are, opportunity to talk today, right? So one thing that I want to mention, and apologize if I'm being redundant, but something of being of service, and I think that's the key to everything that we're doing here in this community, is of being of service brings up opportunities. They say if you want to have a friend, be a friend, and that's how things show up in your life. And when you look at it from, and I'm going to use a Buddhist saying, but it does pertain in my mind. It says, be charitable without the act of charity in mind. So if you're out there and you're like, well, I'm going to do this for you because then you're going to do this for me, that's not truly being of service. But when you're of service and you're helping and you're giving back, your friend, the Bob Berg, the Go Giver, who talks a lot about that. that's when opportunities will show up, is when you become selfless, when you really show up for the greater good, and you start looking at, well, what can this do for us, you know, and you'll be taken care of, because guess what, you are part of us. You know, we're a collective group of people, and when you start, if you step back and you start going, what can I get, what can I do, what's for me and what's for me, you're going to find that people are not going to be as willing to help you out, and that the opportunities aren't going to show up because of where you're coming from. But I think one of the keys is that, like this group right here, you know, when you show up for other people. Don, you know, we had a conversation a year or two ago, whatever it was now, or a year or so ago, and let's see how it works, you know. And now we've done, I don't even know how many shows we've done together, and it's been a great opportunity. I've learned so much from you. I learned so much from the community, and just being here to, you know, you ask me sometimes, well, you know, do you have anything to talk about for yourself? And I'm like, not really, you know, I'm here and just to share what I can share and be a part of the conversation. And that's what I get from it. And from that has opened up many opportunities for me, being on, you know, I was on, you know, being on shows with like Omar and doing things with other people, and several of the people here, and building relationships. I think that's the key too, is when you look at it, ultimately, it's not necessarily what am I going to get out of it in the sense of something tangible, but what am I going to get out of it for my growth? And that's the biggest opportunities that I'm always looking for, is how can I grow as a person to give back even more?
Yeah, and I think you make a wonderful point, Jason, is people are looking at us and seeing who we are as we talk with each other, as we support each other. And if it's good for us, it'll probably be good for them.
Right.
And so a lot of times it's not impressing people, but impressing on people the integrity, the values that you share, because then trust can be built. And you can't have a great relationship without trust. You can't have a great conversation unless you're just purely transactional.
Right.
And that means you're out there selling every day, and instead of building every day and letting other people go first, you know, putting people on a higher plane than they're used to. You know, when you treat people in situations and methods that they're not used to, it makes a difference. And Charles has another comment. I love what Charles does. Wait till Charles starts giving you his sayings. Embrace lifelong learning. Actively enhance your skills through online courses, workshops, and reading, while fostering a curious mindset by asking questions, exploring new concepts, and seeking out new experiences. Because that really relates to partnering. You know, since I've been talking about ChatGPT, I've gone through 4 Audible books in the last 10 days. It won't take me long to cover the rest of them. And, you know, I've gotten such a leg up by not trying to discover something on my own, but leverage what someone else is already providing in the marketplace, and then accelerating the learning curve, compressing the time frame, and getting out in front. You know, the other day I was able to template enough things. I was running 11 posts a day on 11 different subjects, you know, and I like stretching. You know, I like, you know, if you ever had a fast car, you want to see how fast this thing can go, you know, at some time or situation, and you're impressed. It can be a little challenging, it may be a little dangerous, but, you know, I think a little bit of fear helps you. You know, there's something to be humble, something to humility, something about being modest, something about letting someone else go first and feeling good about it. You know, like Jason says, a lot of people, it's like, well, if I give it, when am I going to get it back? If I give a lot, will I get anything close to it? Well, you're playing the small game with a small mind. And, you know, you're only going to grow as fast, just like a fish in the bowl that it sits in, right? So, you know, what I would recommend is there's never been a better opportunity for learning, for growing, for changing, whether it's audibles, whether it's LinkedIn live streams like this. And it just continues to get better because there's something to confidence. And once you get confident, you're unstoppable. Once you fully believe and you're not affected by the distractions or the petty, you know, slings and arrows that are out there, you get better, you go further, And wherever you go, however you got there, the next person has to do the same thing to reach that point. So never stop to climb. With that said, Charles.
Yeah, I want to come in and touch on, I get everything you're saying, Don, but I want to come back and touch for a moment on what Jason has said about the opportunity to volunteer and having a charitable heart and a grateful heart. I think this is an incredibly important point. And, there's countless studies out there that show that humility is a key factor in success. In the book Good to Great, humility and perseverance were the top two characteristics that were identified by Collins in his research for success. And other studies have shown that humble leaders are more effective, with 61% of employees reporting higher job satisfaction when they're led by humble leaders. Now, you often don't hear about these humble leaders because they are humble. So they're not out there promoting themselves the way you might expect. But I think that what volunteering and service have an opportunity to do is they have an opportunity to make people humble. So service is something that we do a lot in my organization, and I'm very involved in a number of different organizations, including ICM, which is considered by the major studies as one of the best, if not in the top 3, poverty alleviation models in the world. And my family and I have been to the most impoverished places in the Philippines, where people live below, the worst below definition of poverty, and have no idea where the next meal is coming from. And when you're involved in these types of service opportunities, whether it's on the streets in wherever you live in North America, the United States, or around the world, whether it's going to an impoverished place, nowadays, you're right, Don, there are so many opportunities out there to put yourself out there and to be of service. This is a great way for people to become humble, because they realize that they actually have things better than they think, and that some of the issues confronting them might be first world problems, and they start putting those issues into context and into perspective. And when you start doing that, you start shifting your mindset, and that then brings about openings for looking at the world differently, and maybe you have opportunities in front of you that you haven't been able to look at before. So that's what I wanted to add in, kind of a combination of what you said, Don, and what Jason said, but I really am a major fan of being of service and having a grateful, service-oriented, charitable heart.
Yeah, that's a great add-on to what Jason mentioned. And I think that's beautiful that one can start something with a simple sentence and stimulate a lot of thought and also addition and benefit to it. Let's go back to a comment here by Charles. Every wall's a door. Well, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Charles comes back with network effectively, build relationships by attending industry events, joining professional organizations, and connecting with peers on platforms like LinkedIn, while also seeking mentorship and coaching for guidance, insight, and new opportunities. Well put in very condensed form. Leslie says Bob B, which must mean Bob Berg. So, you got to be on your toes. Charles says being of service expands, let me get Jason back on. Your experience by volunteering for new projects that align with your interests, demonstrate initiative through collaboration, and embrace a selfless attitude by showing up for the greater good with humility, opening doors. Let me see the finish.
New opportunities.
New opportunities. And then also the most successful people use humility to bounce back quickly, according to Harvard-trained leadership expert Charlene Lee. We've got Thaddeus here. Welcome. This is so cool. Well, keep coming back. I'm here every Thursday. Look forward to expanding the audience. Charles says leadership effective studies show that humble leaders are more effective. I think we covered that, but that's a point that's well taken. Omar, your turn. As things are moving along fast here.
Yeah, good points that Charles made and Jason made as well in terms of humility, right? And in that point, we really need to connect with people and show our humility rather than promoting ourselves as something like a big shot kind of thing. And part of the nice community with LinkedIn that I've seen is that when I started connecting with people more and more, you find these wonderful people that you're able to relate to, and you're able to do projects together willingly without even asking them, right? Even when I do my program, I'm booked for 3, 4 weeks, and they're willing to come on there, and they're willing to expose themselves to know who they really are, right? And that's the beauty of it. You have the kindest people through LinkedIn that I've noticed from other social media platforms, um, and that shows you that there are kind people all over the world, wherever they are. They could be in Hong Kong, they could be in Hawaii. You know, we're going all around there, or it could be up in Canada, all down to the bottom of Africa, or even South America. And so you find all these connections and expands our horizon in terms of from watching the news and all that, that people are people and they're different than what the news and media is showing. And we really need to connect and have this collaboration together. You know, it's just fabulous, very wonderful.
Well, that's very positive. Jason, your turn.
So many good points. So much. So glad I'm here today. Yeah, this is a great conversation. And one thing I want to mention is you're talking about opportunities and looking for where it's at. And Don, you're talking about using different tools. And, we've talked a lot about that, about, a tool can be used for good or could be used for something else. But I think the key is that as we look for opportunities, we don't get caught up on getting stuck with, well, it's only going to show up in my life this one way. They use the example of you're in a room, you're in a huge room, and you think that your opportunity is going to come from the left. So you're just focused on the left and you're staring over there, waiting for when's it going to come? When's it going to come? And it's actually over on your right-hand side trying to tap you on the shoulder saying, hey, I'm right here. Here's the opportunity. Here's the chance to grow, to build, to do new things. And you're like, yeah, hold on. I'm waiting because it's going to come up over here. And we get so just plugged into how it's going to show up in our lives. We get so plugged into it's going to show up this way with this people in this moment of my life. And when it doesn't, I'm going to be disappointed and upset. And then, then it's like, oh, well, I guess it just didn't show up. It didn't happen for me. And then that actual opportunity just kind of walks off, manifesting it, walks off dejected, like, oh, I guess you didn't want me. So being open to that, to Omar's point, talking to people from all these different areas and all these different places, it's the same thing. It's being open to where's this going to come from. I live in a community of 7,300 people live in my town. Now I live next to Davis, which is a huge UC Davis, huge college town, which gets up to 50,000 people, and Vacaville, which has 80,000, and Sacramento, has hundreds of thousands in that metro area. But if I was to only look in winters and say, well, my business is going to grow in winters, and that's the only way I'm going to do it, I'm going to go hungry. I'm going to be a little bit hungry, and not in a positive way, So opportunities show up all the time. We just have to put on the goggles that allow us to see them. And I think that's an important point to make.
Excellent point. And what that brings to mind is math. Are you a divider or a multiplier? Right? When you bring another person on the screen with you, you've just split the screen. If you look at it as a divider, you only have half as much exposure, half as much time, but you're not giving credit to the half you just added to yourself. And how do you continue to fill yourself up? How do you fortify yourself? How do you build relationships that are true, honest, and sincere that carry with you, right? You only have so much blood family, right? You're born with so much, and over time you keep losing more important pieces, but that doesn't restrict you from adding chosen family. And it's not a choice you make, it's a collective choice that we're better together, that what you don't know, maybe I can help you with, and vice versa. And it's always good to go into anything with a buddy, right? It's more fun when you're going down a dark road if you have somebody with you, or if you're going into a new situation and someone's saying, hey, it's going to be just great, you're going to be fine, I'm there for you. And at a certain point, you don't have to hear it, you just feel it and know it. And that alone may make you more than you could have ever been by yourself. And you're also reciprocating, because one thing I know about LinkedIn, everything is give and take. It's not meant to be given so you can take it, but you're not going to continue to repeat it. I always come back with the two-step thing. You take a step, I take a step. I take a step, you take a step, but nobody should take two steps, right? Because it's like, are you still out there? Are you still playing here? You know? And how much fun can you have? And I think that has to be an important ingredient. How much humor is there? How many times can you laugh at disappointment? Just by saying, that's one in a million. How could that ever happen? No matter what it is, it's like, why? But, the key is not what's happened. What do you build on what happens?
Yeah.
The past is the past. The future is yet to come. It's where am I today and where do I want to be today that can lend itself to a better tomorrow? So there is a lot of strategy to it, which is to let yourself alone sometimes. You can't hover over yourself all the time. Perfection is really at the disadvantage of just progressing in your own positive way. So, Charles, let's hear it from you.
Yeah, I think another thing to add into the conversation is the importance of having a positive relationship to failure. And possibly one of the reasons why people might be blind to opportunities or fail to take those steps about a lot of things that we've talked about thus far um, during the session is that they may have a fear of failure or a fear of success that's preventing them from stepping forward. But people really need to look at failure as being a key factor to success. And if you look at some of the most successful entrepreneurs that are out there, one of the most fascinating was some technology companies which are mining asteroids for rare minerals, and how they plan on sending rockets and satellites to asteroids to land on the asteroids and pick up rare minerals and then bring them back to Earth. They banned the word failure from their organization. You were not allowed to talk about the word failure. It was a learning opportunity. It was a challenge. It was a breakdown of some sort, but it was not a failure. They didn't want that language in the organization. And even Thomas Edison, in his inventions, has saying, "I haven't failed. I've just invented 9,999 ways and it hasn't worked." And finally, on the 10,000th way, he was able to have that breakthrough that he was looking for. So having a powerful relationship to failure is really, really critical. And people need to realize that failure is a stepping stone, and they need to be able to accept failure and learn from failure and move on from it.
Yeah, great point. And I've learned that failure is only feedback, and it's better to fail forward, right? Because everything is a continuum. It's not an outcome. It's like, hey, where were we? What's the score of as of yesterday? Well, as long as you play the game plays. You may be behind, but you're never a loser unless you quit. And that whole thing, quitters never win, winners never quit. I mean, that's been an old adage for a long time. And I think, when you look at yourself and not be a friend to yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Because you're the only person is going to meet you later on by yourself when it's about time to go to bed, right? And really saying, okay, what do we, that whole gratitude exercise makes so much sense, right? What are the 5 things that happened today that I should appreciate? Waking up with blessing where you are, who you're with, what you have. Too many people look up and they don't look down. There's a saying, you come into the world with nothing, the worst you can do is break even. So, why not add to what you have? And when you can't add to what you have, add to what someone else has, right? If you have one meal and you've already eaten, give it to someone else. Don't save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself soon enough. So let's move it over to Omar.
Yeah, a couple of the points that Jason made in terms of the opportunity. I like how you mentioned that people are looking for opportunities where they're at. And he mentioned the right or the left, right? And so I always think about that in terms of looking for a job, right? People always want to find a job in their city and town. And that's how it was probably 30, 50 years ago, right? When we didn't have the internet. And then people would always find a job in their town. Now you have more opportunities to look for jobs in a different town or a different state, right? You can even work remotely. And so don't focus on the location where you're at if you're not able to find it. Look at your location for jobs. If you can't find it, go elsewhere. Expand your horizon in terms of finding your opportunities for jobs or whatever career you want, right? And Jason made a good point in terms of you'll be hungry because you might not have as many clients or money coming in and income. Go out, go expand your horizon to other locations, and like Charles was saying as well, failure that he mentioned from Edison. You have to learn from your failures, right? If you make a mistake in a job or some kind of an audit report that you did, they have to give you the opportunity at your job to improve on it. And because if we make a mistake, that's an opportunity for our mentally to do things better next time, so we need that opportunity, so we need failure so we can succeed and get better at it, right? That's definitely is. And I'm enjoying your quotes there, Charles. That's awesome. Okay. Charles, how are you typing this? Do you have like some kind of a Jedi power where you're coming in you're
I
just
wish I had
you're just
Jedi
there
power.
and
No, I have the LinkedIn account, which is paired to the live stream, connected up on the separate screen. So then just take the quotes and drop them in.
that's awesome.
Well,
I'll end it with that.
let's get some more comments. Thaddeus says your motivation is a huge factor in the road to success. Charles comes back with many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. So true. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. Sun Tzu. I'm hoping to pronounce that properly. Jason, everybody seems to love what you're doing today and building off of it. So can't wait to hear your next nugget.
Thank you, Don. Yeah, this is a great one. And I apologize for my internet. I don't know what's going on today. It's just silly, but I'm going to have to go back and watch the show because so much good stuff's coming out of it. I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? Like when I'm waiting to get back
It's good
in.
for the bloopers, Jason. This is good for the bloopers when we come out with
Exactly.
bloopers next season. DVD.
Exactly. The be real. Something that kind of what everyone's talking about and really Charles has really highlighted, and I love it, is the example that I use, and this comes from my mentors, that obstacles are a good thing. And you can call obstacles, failure or whatever, but obstacles and failure, that lets you know you're going in the right direction. It knows you're actually moving towards something. I use the example of if you're in this huge room and I want to get to the door, and as I'm walking to the door, I run into a chair. That just lets me know I'm headed to the door. So I just walk around the chair. I don't stop and go, oh, there's a chair here, I can't go. I'm like, oh, okay, there's a chair here, and I walk around it. But if I'm in the same room using the same example, and I'm going nowhere, I'm just bouncing around. And I come to a chair, and I'm like, oh, a chair, and I just kind of move around, and oh, a couch, and I move around. But I'm not going anywhere. But the obstacles in your life that let you know, hey, something's going on. Things are going, and here's the important part. And I need to course correct. You don't just go, well, I see the door, I'm going towards it, and I'm just going to, but I need to, you go around the chair. And that's opportunity. The ability to think, what's going on? Let me step back. What's happening right now? What's keeping me from getting to my goal? Because that's ultimately where we're going, right? Is this opportunity is helping us get to our goal. So what is my goal? And then how am I getting there? And if that path doesn't get you there, readdress it, move, shift, change direction. That's the key. And I'll leave it there.
Yeah, you make great point, Jason. And pivot is a key word. The saying, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how fast you get up. Yeah. Right? When you get knocked down or something doesn't go your way, naturally there's going to be some disappointment because the expectation was the opposite.
Right.
But how long does it sting? And then how long does it take to dust yourself off and get back in the game? If you look at auto racing, it's all about pit stops, right? Some people can go in and in 20 seconds change their tires on their way. And if you take longer than that, you might lose the race. So, the game plays with you or without you. And the key is how do you get back in the game and do it in a comfortable way? I think has to be balance. Too many people are too hyper. They're too, they can't stop. And there's a time for reflection. There's a time for review. There's a time for rehabilitation, and there's a time to quit and come back to it. Sometimes it's just too much, too soon with too little. And when you start forcing something, it never works out. Like putting that square peg in that round hole. You can hammer it in, but it's not duplicatable, it's not scalable, and it's not something I would advise unless you have an unlimited amount of pegs and a bunch of holes to put it in. And the joy is the doing, the being. How many people play golf awfully but have a wonderful time with friends, being outside, hitting a ball? And other people are just genius at it, and as soon as they get a bad shot, they're throwing their clubs in the water, they're jumping up and down. And it's what you bring that isn't heard that makes you attractive to other people. Too many people are focused on performance instead of being an accompaniment, being part of the choir instead of being the main singer. So there's a lot that one can learn from others, can learn from themselves, and give yourself time. There's something to patience. There's something to not stretching yourself too thin. Why not have some balance? And I think a lot of successful people in one area are total failures in other areas. Why? Because they didn't tend to their garden. They didn't spend enough time, make enough quality investments in their family and their hobbies, whatever it is. You want to be happy. And at the end of the day, if you can put your head down on your pillow and say, I did a good day today. I helped people. I learned something. I paid my dues for this day on earth. I think there's something to that. Charles, if I'm not mistaken, or Jason, or Omar. I think it's Charles, but I don't know. Tell me. I'm so confused.
I'll be brief, and then I'll hand it over to Omar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that that I love this concept that obstacles are really opportunities, and they're a form of feedback. And professional sales trainers will tell you that when you get a no, you're just closer to the close of the sale, and that a no from a customer is actually a buying signal. There's a whole school of thought that when you get resistance, when you get no's, that's actually different forms of buying signals for the customer. So this is really great. Not only can obstacles be a form of feedback, but if people are looking for creating opportunities in their life, they can also go out into their network and they can ask for feedback. And I think now, and this has been raised a few times during this session, now is one of the best times to be networking with people from all around the world and to be taking advantage of resources that are available to us all around the world. One of the things that I did a couple of summers ago is I did it again this past summer when we have a little bit of a slower period when the schools are shut, so we tend to get caught up on projects at head office. But one of the things that I did was I went out and found myself executive coach and a mentor, and I did that through Fiverr. And I just went through over the course of a month, I just went through several executive coaches and mentors until I found the one that I really clicked with, and then I regularly keep in touch with that person, usually once a month, sometimes more often, and sometimes we go longer. But this is a great way to have someone reflect ideas back to you. It's a great way to have a way to get feedback. And as you're being coached or mentored, you can get really, really great feedback, and you can see how different challenges and obstacles in your life are just opportunities waiting to be seized or reinterpreted into positive steps. So that's it for me for now.
I agree with you, and I'll turn it over to Omar, but, to me, and I was in sales for quite a bit. I think once you're in sales, you're always in sales. It's just, what are you selling? But a no was always a not yet. It wasn't a finality. And I agree with Charles. Once someone tells you no, they've given you something. They say the worst place you can be is give me a maybe because put in the purgatory of not knowing, right? Give me a yes or no, but just don't say, come back and talk to me again, because nothing will get done in the meantime. So, Omar?
Yeah, I just want to end it here by saying a few words. I have another appointment in 15 minutes. But one thing, Don, you mentioned is that take it slow. Like we're a lot, everybody's very fast these days, right? In terms of wanting the job quickly, wanting to finish the task very fast, right? We have time, right? We want that relationship to happen soon. Take it easy, right? Take your time. You have time. Everybody has time. It's just a matter of how hurry we are, how much of a hurry we are in terms of getting the thing that we want, right? Um, and that's something that all of us need to work on in terms of taking things slower. What we want, do we want that job? We all that want that job that soon, right? But if we take our time, we fix our resume, we go out, we talk to people, we make sure we have everything, then look for the opportunity. We're not going to just go there and go to the company and say, I want the job. You got to do it in a sense where step by step, baby steps, as they say, and then go there and then get the job or the opportunity that you want. So with that, I just want to say appreciate the opportunity. I do have to jump off. I have to mentor a student here in about 15 minutes, but you guys have been great, and I will watch the program again and love to be on the program again. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Jason. It's interesting. We have CC, we have a JJ, and we have a DC here. So you guys, all of you guys have wonderful initial stuff. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Omar. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have you. And I want to thank you for your quality contribution today. And I'll say one thing to Omar's point is taking time helps you as well as the other person. I've adopted a pull instead of a push strategy. I'd rather have people get attracted from what I do and who I am than pushing my way through and muscling my way through. There's something to finesse, and finesse can go a long way. And time is your friend if you allow it to be, because something you might jump into quickly, given more time, you'll start to understand more of the parameters and decide, hey, maybe it is good I slow down or I come back. So, Omar, I'll let you slide. Enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to doing more shows with you.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Jason, your turn.
One thing that I think is most important, and we're actually winding up on the hour here, and today's been great. Today's been amazing. It's been playing chess at 100 miles an hour. It's everyone's got such good points, and just trying to keep that conversation going in that positive direction has been wonderful. So thank you for having me on again today, Don, and everybody else. It's been wonderful. The one thing that I would leave with, and the one thing that's most important from my point of view and where I come from is, put on those lenses that showed you opportunities. Be aware that opportunities are going to show up in many different places, in many different ways, and be ready for them.
Well, a little freezing there. In the meantime, I'll reflect on what Thaddeus said. Reflect and learn daily. Embrace a growth mindset. Practice self-compassion and resilience. Quality comments. Charles comes back with our lives are defined by opportunities, even the ones we miss. F. Scott Fitzgerald. An obstacle is an opportunity in disguise, offering a chance to learn, grow, and develop resilience while finding innovative solutions. And a no can often be a pathway to a more meaningful yes in the future. That kind of aligns with when one door closes, another door opens up. Seek feedback, regularly ask for constructive criticism from peers and mentors to identify important areas and act on this feedback to refine your skills and approach, creating new opportunities for growth. Well, it looks like we covered a lot of ground today, Charles, and you definitely impressed me and continue to impress me with your knowledge, but mostly your ability to relate to whatever is being talked about or shared in the moment with your wealth of wisdom and knowledge and experience. So, Charles, it's been a little bit since we've had you on the show, and now we're only once a week, so it's not as many opportunities. what would you say would be your closing thoughts?
Well, I'll definitely plan to come back, and in a couple of months, the time zones are going to change, so I might be able to join you more often. And also, I will say that I'm going to be starting a series of live sessions, probably once a week or once every couple of days, to share the results with people about this survey of over 100 senior HR professionals that we ran at the end of 2024, and share some of the insights that we got out of that survey. Really, really fascinating. Builds on this idea of the corporate clock speed in organizations being moving too fast, and that's generating a lot of issues within the workplace, and what are some of those issues and what's on people's minds. But what I'd like to close with is that people's circumstances may bring interruptions and challenges and delays in their lives, but people want to always remember to keep their goal and their commitment in focus. Make sure you take that equipment and that commitment and equip yourself through your commitment by expanding your knowledge, gaining experience, enable yourself to seize opportunities when they arise, get feedback, have a lifelong learning approach, and really take that time to reflect on how's my world, how are my relationships, and how are my opportunities, and what opportunities am I looking for. And if you do that regularly, you've heard several times today the importance of slowing down. Often you need to slow down to speed up. And that would be my final takeaway in order to seize opportunities as they arise.
Great finish. We still have a few minutes, and I want to congratulate you on taking the initiative to create your own live stream, which can definitely amplify your reach and your message to get out there. And I'm looking to become more strategic and focused. So if you ever want to put something together where we can do a team situation, collaborate on an event or a show, and take it again, like we've been talking through this whole show, to the next level, to see how we can help become workout buddies, stretch each other in a good way. And there's so much to be gained. It's all about leverage. And we're leveraging big numbers. There's 1 billion people registered on LinkedIn alone. And my channel today is paired with YouTube that has even more subscribers. And the beauty I've learned over time is it's always wonderful to have a live audience, have this tremendous interaction, but the numbers continue to grow after the show is over. Every show, and these are our shows. I've got 900 of them now on YouTube. And, that doesn't account for when I start doing shorts and doing specific things. And, the groundwork is already in place. When they build a building, it takes forever for the foundation to come in. And then the bricks and sticks just follow really quickly. I think we've all built great foundations among ourselves, and also continue to bring people in like Thaddeus, Omar, who is here today and doing wonderful things, Jason, who's a great person. And, one thing that means so much to me is the integrity and the value of the people I'm associating with. And that can only happen over time. Anybody can do a great act once or twice, but it's the continuation, it's the perseverance that people start to show themselves truly, because they continue to be who they say and act as, instead of who they want you to be. And I think we covered on areas like humility, modesty, timing, balance, all these things that if you can put it all together, you can make for an easier time. And, I always found, do the job, the pay will follow. Go for the pay, and you don't know what you're going to be doing to get it. And all of a sudden, you're not going to know what to do next. And it actually can form a bad habit, right? Keep doing the wrong thing the right way over time, and you'll find yourself all alone or in trouble. And do the right thing, even if it's a little thing. I had a gentleman from Pakistan who came to work for me, didn't know anything about the culture and had a whole different view on life. And one day, and I got him an Audible membership. and he ended up learning, and Brian Tracy was his favorite. And over time, he started to understand it himself through tapes and videos like that. The point is, and the question he asked me is, when I get really successful, I want to give to charity. I don't know how to do that. And I said, well, don't wait till you're successful. When you have a little, give a little. And when you have more, give a little bit more. And that was something, because most people say, when I get this, something will happen. When I have this, I'll do that. Well, when you get it, it's never going to be enough. It'll always be tomorrow. It's really get in there, and failure, doing something that you're going to learn from, you grow with, is not failure. It may not be the end result you're hoping for, but where's the fire, right? If you got the rest of your life you're looking for, let's just say you had a great book or a great meal, you'd want to savor it. You'd want to hold a couple pages for tomorrow. I think that would be so important. We've got, we're already at time. I'll say thank you all so much for the opportunity to join this amazing conversation today. Be well. Grace says hello. Thank you, Grace. And Thaddeus says, yes, agree, don't wait. And Charles' last comment is, the future is shaped by the actions you take today and the opportunities you choose to pursue. With that said, Charles, so happy to have you. So happy to have been able to involve you and introduce you a little bit more to Jason and to Omar. And thank you, audience, for being just the best. See you next Thursday with another tremendous show, hopefully. And with that, go out and make it